Wow.
All right, we're on air. Welcome to another episode of Campfire Chat. Tonight's panel, we have the Deep South Experience Stan.
Hello.
We have Eric Illbilly.
My favorite Goonie.
We have Bruce. Nature calls. It's obviously fallen and he can't get up. We have Chris, Wyndham Woodcraft.
Hello, everybody.
And we have myself, 39 Camper.
Did you announce Bruce's couch?
Oh, yeah, let me do this. On the panel tonight is Bruce's couch and throw pillow.
I believe he calls her Sarah.
There. So tonight we have a few mini subjects that we want to talk about. Chris had brought up some good ideas, some hunting preps for this fall, 5-pound survival kit build, some minimalist camping and backpacking gear,
Got the lighter?
and some shout outs to some other chats. So we'll get started on doing some talking about some hunting preps here.
Whose channel is this on so I can find the comments?
It's on mine.
It's not showing up.
It should show up shortly after it went live. Or if you go to your feed, it should have popped up.
All right.
So one thing I started to do, it's been cool mornings, and it's been cool throughout the day. Kind of feels like fall. Some leaves are falling and everything, and it's about the time I get out my bow, start shooting my bow. From here until hunting season starts, usually do anywhere from 20 minutes, a half hour each day. Shoot a few arrows, go through my, I got like a tackle box where I keep all my broadheads and field points and wrenches and all that in. Go through that, see if I need to replace some blades or broadheads or stuff like that. You do any bow hunting, Sam?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I bow hunt. I'm trying to find. I'm trying to get coordinated here. Okay. I got lost between my screens. Yeah, I bow hunt, but it's just right now. It's too freaking hot to get out and practice. But as soon as it starts, and our bow season doesn't start until late October, so I got plenty of time.
Ours is the 1st of October, so good September, good month of shooting. I'm usually pretty on tune. And I've noticed, as long as you haven't dropped your bow or jarred it around, it's usually pretty good. The sights are usually pretty good on it come following year. Might got to tweak the sights a little bit here and there. So are you going to hunt, Chris?
I am gonna hunt. And on the topic of bow hunting, I actually I signed up for the class because we have to take a bow hunter safety class, which makes like the regular rifle hunting safety class look like child's play. And I was all set to take it at the end of May, but I had a choice of I had to make a couple of financial choices and time constraint choices, so I never got my hunting license for a bow this year. So I won't be bow hunting, but I do love archery. I do love shooting. So that's kind of like on my hit list for the the next over the next 6 months, say, is get that class taken over the course of the winter time. That way I'll be good to go for next season.
So in mid-September, around September 15th, our small game starts up. And last year they changed the rules that you have to buy a small games license before you can buy any of your other hunting license. So you're pretty much forced to get the small game license, which is like your squirrels, your rabbits, and things such as that. But I think I might do some squirrel hunting this fall too. I haven't squirrel hunted in, I bet you, 10 years.
Do you have quail and pheasant up that way, or?
Used to have pheasant, but if you're gonna find that stuff, you're gonna find it like on a farm, like a hunting club. Hunting clubs will have like big pheasant and grouse ranches where you go and pay to shoot caged birds.
We used to have pheasant on our farm. We haven't had them in probably 20 years, but I think that was escapees from a local hunting club, who migrated to our farm.
You get the quail down there, Stan?
No. Used to, in the 60s, we had a lot of quail down here, but the habitat just doesn't support it anymore because we've gotten away from the large plantations, and it's just, we just don't have quail down here anymore. There are some pay to hunt places that release quail that you can go to.
I think the big quail push is what, like North Carolina, Kentucky, Tennessee, them states.
Yeah, and Georgia.
Georgia
has some bird hunting. There's just not quail around here anymore. The last covey of quail I saw was in Mississippi, probably in the early 80s, and that was the last time I ever flushed a covey of quail. But I go to my dad's, when I get a chance, I go to my dad's place in Iowa.
Yep, never. They tried to open the season here one year, and I think they ended up voting a no. But I know Indiana has a season on them. It was either quail or dove. It might have been dove.
Dove is federal. Dove's a migratory bird. They're governed under federal license.
Okay.
Like ducks. But you don't have to have a stamp for dove.
Okay.
Regulated by the feds. Well, the state's game commissions have their input also, but it's just different.
Yeah, and I think our state didn't want us shooting doves but so have you started pricing camouflage yet, Chris?
I have, and it made me choke. So I said, I think I'll just stick with what I have. But I have pretty good, I don't want to say camouflage gear, like per se, like, mossy oak, everything from head to toe. Some pretty good, colder weather camouflage. I have, excuse me for just a second, I'm going to cough my brains out.
Man, I cannot split my screens.
I swallowed a bug. But anyway, I have some really good LL Bean wool camouflage pants that are awesome. You can't wear them when it's warm out, but
You'll be able to gun hunt for deer, right?
Oh yeah, I'm good to go there. And I was gonna say our small game starts in September, and our bird season, right around the same time, like you said, quail, partridge, all those. And I've never gone bird hunting before. So a good friend of mine is an avid hunter. He's been hunting all his life, and they do a lot of bird hunting. They have a beautiful place. It's like freaking 6 miles north of here in the middle of nowhere, Maine. And they go up for a week every year during bird, and then they go up a week every year in November for deer. So he's invited me to both trips. So, all are willing. Knock on wood, I'll actually get a chance to go to both.
Great, man. I stopped bird hunting several years ago. Waterfowl, at least, that just flew into our bow season, and it's expensive to waterfowl hunt.
All hunting's expensive, man.
Yeah. So, Bruce's couch. Do you hunt anything? What's that? No input from Bruce's couch.
I like it when Bruce sits on me. Oh, really?
Y'all scare me sometimes.
So I have a funny, not hunting, but so that same friend who does the bird hunting, he does a lot of skeet shooting, and they invited me over to do some skeet shooting, and at the time I only owned one shotgun. So I'm like, yeah, I got a shotgun, I'll bring it over. And so we get onto it's on a private land. We get to the place, and they're all got their gun cases, everything's still in a case and everything, and I'm helping them carry the friggin' launcher thing. So they all they all set their stuff down on the table, a nice little like folding banquet table, and they start opening up their gun cases, and they got these nice over-under, like break barrel, frickin', 700, 800, 2,000, whatever dollar guns, and I pull out my 18-inch barrel, friggin' home defense shotgun with like a laser on it, and it's all jet black. I got the friggin' shell carrier on the side and the tactical stock on it, and they all look at me and they just start laughing. I'm like, what? But I almost kept par with them. I just had to make sure I got my shots in quick.
It's hard to get that laser on a little skeet in it, on those little birdies.
At least you had a good pattern with that short barrel.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that I did. But since I've purchased a nice Mossberg 20 gauge with a 28-inch barrel, and yeah,
there you go.
I'm set for bird hunting now.
All right, we getting on a different subject here. I think I'll have Chris talk about it. The 5-pound survival kit build. And I was oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was pretty excited about when you brought that up, because I wanted to. I seen a couple videos, but I didn't really know the whole story behind it.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's for anyone that's paying attention in our little group of people on YouTube, Chris from Prepared Mind One, along with Mantis Outdoors, I believe. Not as familiar with his channel, but they did a great video, and he started talking about theory a little bit. But what essentially they did was they assembled what Chris did was assemble a 5-pound survival kit, and then the guy from Mantis Outdoors it was in like this roll. He unrolled it, and they just went over everything that was in it. So it was almost like Mantis Outdoors was kind of critiquing it and kind of going over the items on video, having seen them for the first time. So, it was a cool video, and it inspired a lot of people to to put kits together and to do kind of like a VR for them. And I kept watching it, like you said, Daryl, some awesome videos to see what it is that each person kind of packs away into that 5-pound restriction. And I've seen everything from like, for instance, our friend Michael, the Bearded Clam, did one of these videos, and his kit was, in my mind, perfect, on one end of the spectrum. Like, he had lightweight sleep gear, he had lightweight cooking and containers, he had lightweight, all of his stuff was like really good, nice quality too. I was like kind of jealous, honestly. All right down to like this really cool lightweight, like the fold down dry bag type apparatus, but it was a backpack and it did that. So it was like everything was in this like nice waterproof container. And then I should have written down some of the other ones, but then other guys went like really crazy, tool heavy, with like 18 little items in a kit this big, like right up Stan's alley, like how he can just manipulate all these items to fit in this tiny little container. So yeah, I started assembling one too, and like way back, actually, Daryl, it's kind of funny. It was the first shout out I ever did to your channel. It was my winter budget bushcraft bag or something like that. And I gave you a shout out for that keychain that you did. But in any case, I based it off that, and I weighed that thing, and it weighed like 13 pounds, and I'm like, oh crap, how am I going to like cut 8 pounds of stuff out of here? So, in any case, I started working on the bag. I'm going to do a video and do a little bit of theory, but I came to realize really quickly that it's more what you're comfortable with, and based upon your experience, what you would bring. Have any of you other guys ever looked at your kit that way? Like maybe not try to hit 5 pounds, but like try to cover all the bases with a very small pack?
I've always tried to do that personally. I mean, weight's a big deal, When we went to Pennsylvania, you remember, night before, I was like, I'm going in. I think we all did this, basically. But yeah, I was like, I'm going in. I'm going to pull out the things that are redundant with everybody else and, just try and lighten it all up. I always try to go light. There's no reason to go heavy.
I was thinking about that, doing a really lightweight pack with just the bare minimal that I needed for. We went canoeing down the Manistee River, and I want to do a kayak, but as you know, there's not much room to put a kayak. So the pack or bag or whatever you have just is basically just the bare minimums. So I've been kind of getting out my gear and playing around with that stuff. But
yeah, I was going to show this pack. This is definitely heavier than 5 pounds, but this is my replacement for my day hike kit, which I did a video on this past spring, but this is my new Maxpedition. This will carry everything that was in those 2 packs, my water bottle kit and the haversack all in one, and it actually rides really nice. It's one of their sling packs. Like this is the middle range model. I can't remember. I think they call it the Fat Boy, maybe. Yeah, it's a nice pack. I mean, lots of modular, spots to add stuff to.
And that's kind of like where I had to start off with mine. Is at the actual pack that I usually hike around with. It's not. I mean, it doesn't weigh a lot, but if you're at if you want to take this particular pack and you're at a half pound right on the get-go and the pack is empty or more, there's, I'm sure that the Fat Boy there is probably got a little bit of weight to it just because it's so substantially and well made. The Cordura is not, they don't spare any expense. Max Edition.
It's 100D, so yeah, it's heavy.
Yeah. So what I did was I started rifling through like the old kind of gear that I had, and I'll show this on a video. But Walmart sells this little backpack that folds into like a little ball, and it's made out of like a ripstop nylon, and it's the size of smaller than a softball, and it packs all into itself. And you're supposed to just throw it in your pack, and that way, if you want a smaller pack, you can just take that out and unfold it and throw a few things in it and go on a hike. Well, I used to use that quite a bit just for touring around, like when the wife and kids, we'd go out for a hike or whatever. So I grabbed that because it weighs basically nothing. And then you really have to start accounting for every little item. For me, like a lot of the kit videos for the 5-pound survival pack they don't include a water bottle. And to me, that's kind of like, when I think survival, having a water bottle that you can put water in that isn't going to pop or whatever, it's just like, I have to have one of those.
The thing I thought about the water bottles too is everybody's weighing it with that water bottle empty, but if you're assuming it's a 32 ounce, that's adding 2 more pounds. That's a 7-pound kit there,
Right.
Now, are they bringing pots or, maybe like a small cook pot or something where they can boil water?
Yeah, well, for instance, like Michael, the Bearded Clam, he has this nice, very nice, I forget the manufacturer, but titanium cook pot that has the lid. It's just like your Coleman, where the lid is like a little frying pan.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, he had that, and, it's titanium, it weighs nothing. A lot of people, they'll bring their Sawyer Mini, and, that's pretty lightweight, small enough anyway. But for me, I need to have a metal container that will close. It's just because that's what I've always had, and I'll always use it. Like some kind of metal container that will take a licking, and you can stick it in the fire, you can drop it, you can punt it if you want. Nothing's bad's gonna happen to it. When I went on that camping trip up to New Brunswick with FS Bushcraft and Cull Craven Bushcraft, my Sawyer Mini bottle, the bag thing that comes with it, popped. So now what do you do? You go to fill it up with water, screw the filter on, and then you have to slowly squeeze it. There weren't no water coming out of the filter. It was squirting out the sides. So, at that point, you're screwed.
Carry a smart water bottle.
Well, and that's the thing. I'm not super experienced with the with the Sawyer Mini. Fortunately, I had another lightweight bag that I could use, but I'm thinking like, okay, if I'm going to do a 5-pound survival kit, again, survival, not like go out and camp in the woods for 3 days and have a good time. Survival kit. Yeah, it's going to have a bottle.
Well, that's my day hike kit. That's what it is a survival kit in case something happens. So yeah, that's what I aim for. But yeah, 5 pounds is really difficult to get to.
Yep.
And yeah, I've been enjoying all these videos. I guess I didn't say that, but yeah, like you said, the one that the Bearded Clam did, his kit was awesome. And I know what you're talking about, those roll-up backpacks. Actually, Maxpedition, I think it's their roly-poly backpack as opposed to their roly-poly dump pouches. But yeah, they make one of those. It's basically just a bucket style. There's nothing on the outside. It's got a couple of straps. But yeah, those do look like a good option for for this type of kit for sure.
Yeah. I mean, the Walmart one is very inexpensive. It's, less than $10. It has one small outside zipper pouch and then just one big zipper for the, for the body. But, so next thing on that 5-pound survival kit I got looking at, and I really had to think about this one, and, people are gonna burn me at the stake for the sake of this, but what kind of knife would you bring, and why would you bring it? And I got thinking, why? What are you going to use that knife for? And this is going to be very area specific, mind you. Stan's going to have probably a completely different view than me. But what's your knife doing for you in a survival situation?
Everything I need it to do.
I got thinking about that.
Yeah, you got to sacrifice weight for,
Yeah, I mean, the boar, that nice big bushcraft knife that I have, no way.
Too heavy?
Too heavy and pointless, honestly. Now, don't take this the wrong way, because again, I'll state, and Chris kind of stated this too on his video, Prepare Mind 101. It's based upon your ability and the knowledge of the area that you're in. Now, if someone said you have to put together a 5-pound survival kit, and I'm going to drop you off somewhere in the world, and I'm not telling you where, well, the items will be a little different. In my area, I do not need a knife for processing any firewood. And when I say a knife, I mean like a bushcraft knife. The firewood is everywhere. It's plentiful. It's, I live in the pine tree state, and it's filled with hemlock. You just walk up and you take the dead branches that you want. There's so much deadfall everywhere. 90% of the state's covered with trees. So I don't need it for processing firewood. What else are you going to use your knife for?
Cleaning game.
Okay. Every deer caping video I've ever seen, the blade is about this long. I'm sorry, get that in front of the video.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
All right, so I'll stop beating around the bush. You know what I would choose for a single tool in the knife category? My Leatherman. And why? Because I use it every single day. And I know that thing intimately, and I have carried a Leatherman for almost 20 years. 18 years I've used a Leatherman. It's 97. Winter of 97 I got one. Christmas. That's the only blade I'd need.
You know what?
Saying is that it'd already be on your belt, so it's not even part of your 5 pounds.
Oh, no cheating. No cheating. It's got pliers. It's got a file. It's got the screwdrivers, the can opener. It's got a little craft saw. It's got a serrated. Mine has a serrated blade and a straight blade. It's got the teeny tiny little fingernail, eyeglass, screwy dooey thing. So I got thinking about it, and I'm like, yeah, this thing can do so many more things than a Mora can. I'm gonna choose that.
How much does that weigh? You got the weight,
don't.
right?
Yeah, I still have to do all my final weigh-ins. It's not light. It's not as light as I don't want to say it's as light as a Mora. Mora is just one piece of carbon steel and a plastic handle and a sheath. So
it's definitely heavier than a Mora, trust me. There's no way you would carry a wave in your pocket. It's that heavy. I always carry mine in my sheath belt or belt sheath.
But I want to add to that the fact that I would take my folding saw my little steel PS10 folding saw almost before I would take my Leatherman. And a lot of people are going to think I'm crazy for that one too, but being a woodworker of my whole life and using saws, and I think about when I'm out in the wilderness, what tool do I use the most? My saw far exceeds my knife. I do all my notches with a saw. Obviously cut all the wood with a saw. When I'm crafting, I use a saw. I use the back of my saw to scrape my ferro rod. It's just, sorry, I'm beeping over here. Turn the sound off. So anyway, I'll be prepared to take a good licking on the choice of a Leatherman for a knife and a folding saw. Those are my only two cutting tools that I'd be bringing.
I'm pretty sure I know what Stan would take, which knife, but
no, you wouldn't. I wouldn't take that knife.
Ah. So what would you take, Stan?
Well, I haven't given much thought to a 5-pound. I'm building a lightweight kit, but I haven't watched any of the videos except one that Michael did, and so I really haven't put a lot of thought in it. But probably a skeletonized titanium dive knife that weighs absolutely nothing.
Right on.
Now I've got a dive knife and it's like 6 inches, and it basically weighs nothing. So probably that. And along the same ideas with Chris, it's like rarely do I ever process wood. I've got all the deadfall I need here. Even in the trees, I can break branches off and break them over my knee or smash. And if I don't know if you've ever watched the way I make a fire, usually what I do is I pull a log up, I don't like wasting time processing wood. So I'll find the biggest log that I can, and I'll just burn, I'll make a cross and I'll burn the ends, or just a straight fire, and then as the ends burn, I just keep pushing it in. So I might have a log that's 8 foot long or something like that, and I'll just push it into the center of the fire as it burns. So I don't process a lot of wood. The only time I process wood is when I'm using my bush box, or my bush firebox. That's it. Unless I'm doing some kind of crafts work, but
and I thought about that too. That last trip I took a Mora, and I had a neck knife and my pocket knife. And I'm like, I barely used the knife on the trip. And so I started thinking, and I came up with a Leatherman too for the next trip. And that's probably all I'll bring is a Leatherman. I got the, what's the one before the super tool?
Surge?
The core?
The core?
Yeah, the core. But this seems heavy. It feels like it's a pound at least,
Well, the Surge and the super tool are definitely heavy. The Wave, I've got a charge. I like the charge, but really the only difference between the charge and the Wave is the scales on it, and it's a little bit more comfortable grip. But for me, the perfect Leatherman for the field would probably be the Wave or the charge. Well, the Wave model. It's got everything we need. The only other one I like is, they all have their advantages and disadvantages, and you just give and take on all of them. The Surge has a replaceable saw where you can have 2 saws in there, a wood saw or a metal saw. But I think the Wave's the best all around.
I agree. I've owned 4 different models of Leatherman over the years, and the Wave was the one I bought 3 years ago, I think. And yeah, definitely been the best model. I like the fact that I can just pop my sheath open up the blade one-handed, compared to the older models where you had to open up everything to get to the blades and stuff.
The Surge, the Surge and the Super Tool are so heavy. If weight's not an option, I like the Super Tool a lot, but those are stuff I usually carry in a glove compartment or in a bag. As far as carrying something on me, I do like carrying my charge on my belt.
Yeah, I've been using the Leatherman Wave exclusively since 2006, I think, is when I got one. Because they came out in 2004, but prior to that, I used the first version of the Super Tool, which I think came out in '94, '95, and I got one in '97, and I used that for almost 10 years.
Well, go ahead. I was using the Gerbers before that.
Yeah.
And the reason I liked, the original Gerber before they had the lock on them, and the reason I liked it because on multi-tools, what I use almost always is the pliers. That's what I use the most is the pliers. And even around here at the house on the weekends, usually I'm carrying my Gerber because it's the pliers I use the most. And but then when they came out with the Charge and the Wave, I swapped over. But for during the week and if I'm away from the house, if I'm at the house, I don't usually carry anything but just the Gerber. If I need something, I'll just go get it.
Yeah. Now, is that the Gerber one that opens kind of like by flipping? Like you can almost do it with one hand by flicking it, and it opens?
Yeah, but it takes some doing to do that. I had to file it down a little bit so that it would, But I just like the one-handed delivery on the.
Gotta grab it.
Yeah, I had that same Gerber that you're talking about there. It flipped funny. I did not like that personally.
Well, see, I don't know. I just like it because you can flip the. This is my second one. Well, yeah, I still got my original. This one has the locks on it. My original doesn't lock. But I just like it because I'll use the pliers more than anything else, and usually I've got another pocket knife with me because I've always got my I like having a Case Stockman with me.
Yeah.
So I use this because I'm using the pliers all the time.
Yeah, the pliers to me in a survival situation, they're almost indispensable because to have mechanical advantage in the the squeezing department to manipulate items is just it's not just like picking up pots and pans out of the fire. Obviously that's a helpful thing, but you can bend and manipulate metal with those pliers, and you cannot do that with your fingers, plain and simple. Hey, oh yeah, I was just gonna say, hey Daryl, I think there's a new funny-looking guy in our room here.
Ranger.
Yo, can you hear me?
We can hear you, my friend.
Okay. I just got back from dinner. I'm enjoying some coffee and listening to you old people talk.
Oh yeah, talk about old people. I started school again today, so I walk in, and I walk in. There's like a room full of freshmen. It's like everybody just stared. It's like, okay, but it was funny. So I kind of sat in the back and watched them.
I remember that feeling a few years ago when I went back to school. When I went to orientation, when I was still out in Iowa, I walked in and it was a bunch of 17-year-olds. I felt, probably the same way you did. It was kind of funny.
Well, everybody's staring at me. I said, stare all you want. I've already been where you are, and I got a job. I'm not really old, but I might be old, but I'm a lot wiser, and I ain't, I've been there, I remember how hard it was, so I empathize with them.
So how is everyone tonight?
Awesome.
Did I miss anything?
Oh, Chris, like you're asking about this, this doesn't flip open. You open it like this, so you just close it. So your pliers are always out, but
yeah, there was that weird model. I know what Chris was talking about. I owned that model. I'm not sure what it was, but yeah, flipped. It was weird.
Like a butterfly knife.
Yeah, kind of like a butterfly knife. My girlfriend bought me one at the time. This is late '90s. Probably '98 or '99 or something. And I was like, "Oh, gee, honey, thanks. This is great." I never used it because I was just like, "This thing's weird. Otherman's way better than this."
Trying to get a good hold with the pliers because of the way those flip. It's almost impossible. Something would always fail when you got tight on it. Put a lot of torque tension on something.
Yeah. So, Mr. Sheen, how the heck have you been, my friend?
I've been busy. Been good though. I haven't. As far as the topics tonight, I don't really have a lot to probably add because I've been busy doing other things. Finally.
Would you care to share with the class?
Started a new job this week. I am on the road doing training right now. It's actually kind of been I won't get into it, but I've already logged like 600 miles this week because I had to go back and forth to this town twice. I just got back again this afternoon. I'll be going home Friday evening, and then either Sunday night or Monday morning, I got to come back over here. I'm in York, which is kind of right in the middle of the state, right below Harrisburg. But yeah, just a lot of training, a lot of traveling. That's what I'm going to be doing for probably the next 60 days. I might be home for a week and then gone for a week. Not like I've been on YouTube a lot anyway, but I don't know that I'm going to be doing any videos until everything settles down.
You look good, all nice and shaved up and everything, all presentable.
Yeah, I don't have the 5-inch beard anymore and the half-shaved head.
When you said you went all respectable, I was expecting baby face. So
I actually, when I originally thought I was starting, before it got pushed back again, I did shave everything off except for this little bit of a goatee right here, but I kept it this short. But then I had like a week and a half in between again, so I just let it grow in, and I just keep it trimmed the lowest setting because they're fine with beards. So I'll sneak in my 5-inch goatee by next year, hopefully.
Be like, deliver that stuff on time, or else.
Exactly. Respect my authority.
You must respect my authority.
Hey, one last thing on multi-tools, and one of the reasons I use the Gerber around the house on weekends besides the pliers is that. I don't know if you can see it. It's the profile on it. The Gerber is like flat. Can you see the difference?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, around here when I'm wearing shorts all the time and a t-shirt, so I mean, it makes a difference. I preferred, if I had a choice between, if I could only have one, I'd have the Leatherman. But like when I'm at home, I can always go get what I need. And just for being handy and comfortable, the Gerber is much more comfortable, but the quality's not the same. And anyway, that's all I got to say about that.
That's all I got to say about that. I think, I don't know, again, going back to the 5-pound survival kit challenge, I mean, it's just an interesting. There's no reason to only carry 5 pounds. You know, I mean, you could have, you know, just a good a kit. You know, a 30-pound kit, you could probably shrink down to 10 pounds and have all the, you know, items that are important, you know, to affect your survival. So to try and trim that down to 5 pounds, it's been a great exercise. And again, I'm kind of prematurely talking about it because I want to do a video and explain like a little bit of the thought process behind it. But you know, again, I keep thinking of you, Stan. I keep thinking about all those little kits that you make and how you can fit like 30 items that don't weigh very much in the same regard, you know. And a lot of these videos where these guys have those little Maxpedition pouches, they're about, I don't know, 4 inches wide by maybe 6 inches tall. They're about 1.5 inches thick, and they open up like a book. And they open it up, and
the
there's
EDC.
yeah, like an
The
EDC. An EDC.
No, I mean
pouch.
that's what it's called. It's called the EDC pouch, and they got the micro. They got the mini, the micro. They got the micro, the mini, and then the EDC, and then the fatty, and then there's one more they just came out with. But yeah, those are very handy.
Yeah, I mean, you watch some of these videos. These guys, they open those things up, and you just go, huh? They got, you know, just an amazing amount of stuff in there. And again, I'm sure you could make one of those little.
I've got one of them, and you don't use half the crap in there. And you know what? One of the things I've done, the 2 things I was going to bring back about kits was I've got the micro, and I've really started. You know, if you watch my EDC videos, I carry a ton of crap and and I use it. But what I started doing was like I started all over without taking anything. I'm talking about leaving the house in the morning. I got my backpack and I got my stuff in there, but leaving the house with nothing but like my wallet in my pocket, and then keeping up with actual stuff that I do use. And it's amazing the stuff that I used to carry that I just in case I needed it compared to what I actually use. And what I do also when I go camping, and I think you probably saw it in one of my early, I'm pretty sure Chris saw it, was I started carrying, and I still do this. When I go camping, I keep a notebook of everything I actually used. And then I look at my notebook of what I used compared to what I carried. And, you know, and with my knee, you know, I don't go hiking, and I have a tendency to carry too much because, you know, I'll just pile everything up in the truck, and I've got them like in the sports containers, you know, the trunks. But, you know, the thing, and I like, you know, I like having what I want when I need it, you know, and the creature comforts, and, you know, and I still enjoy all that. But what I hate the most about camping is packing up and leaving in the afternoon.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I cannot stand to break camp, especially because if you've watched I stay up late on Saturday night, you know, and then I'll wake up Sunday morning and I'm tired, and all I want to do is just like pack up and get home, you know. And so and packing up all that stuff that I brought. So I've started really keeping up with a list of everything that I bring with me, and I'm making my checklist. And another thing, because I got everything so scattered, because you know I've got so many different kits I'm working on. I'm looking for the ultimate kit, and I mean it takes me forever to pack up, you know. And now I've got it where I've got my little 2 sportsman trunks that's got all my food in there. It's got, you know, all my little creature comforts that I want, and toys and knives and stuff like that. And so I'm trying to get it so I can load the truck up faster after work, and so I can break camp and leave and get back home. Because I really do, especially on a rainy night, and you got to pack up all that wet crap, you know.
That's the worst.
Oh, yeah, I hate it, you know.
And our little mouse friend ran across the.
Yeah.
So anyway, I started just I took everything out of my pockets, and at work, if I don't use it, I just keep it in my bag for the day. And I'm really just looking at my kit all over again and just using what I need and keep, you know what I mean? Starting over fresh.
Yeah,
Because
no,
I'd gotten in the YouTube thing of EDC. It's like, just it is cool, and I kind of get off on this. Like somebody needs something, and I'm MacGyver, and I got it. Here you go.
Yeah.
I kind of like having that feeling, but how many times is somebody actually going to need a pair of tweezers or a magnifying glass or a ferro rod at work? How many times have I used a ferro rod at work? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Those are just.
somebody needs one.
Hey,
I'd have to have if I was legally, if I used a ferro rod at work, I would have to have a burn permit.
I like Mr. Scooty 1968's advice. He says, just leave it all there, Stan. It saves packing time.
Yeah, it wouldn't be there when I got back either.
I noticed that we went canoeing up north, and man, I packed my pack with everything that I could possibly need and extra stuff. And then when I got done with the trip, I looked back and I was like, half the stuff I didn't even use. And it was like Chris was saying, I mean, I had 3 knives on me, and I barely used a knife maybe to open a package or something, And it was just, I don't know, I guess it was just like Dan was saying too. Then you gotta dig all the stuff out of your pack to get to your other stuff, and then you gotta put all the stuff back, and so that's a good idea to like keep notes of stuff that you actually use and what is just redundant,
Well, you're always reassessing what you're carrying, but yeah, that's totally a great idea. As far as, I don't know, I think we all suffer from, I definitely do, the 2 is 1, 1 is none mentality. That's like the prepper mentality. But when you take that into bushcraft, that adds a whole lot of weight. And, like you said, you need to assess what you're going to use. And, if you lose it, then you'll come up with, some ingenious way to replace it. But
well, one of the reasons I'm really working hard on this is because I'm about to get a kayak, and some of the places I'm going to be camping, there's no hopping in the truck or walking over to the truck or my sports utility boxes and getting what I need out of it. I'm going to be away from the comforts when I'm in the kayak. Either going down the river, or if I go to one of the beaches, one of the barrier islands, or something like that. It's going to be a different thing. It's no, running back if I forget something. So I'm really trying to keep a list of what I use and what I need. One, so I can look at my list. I can pack up quicker. If I've got a checklist, it's just like when I go diving. I've got a checklist of all my items that I know that I tell you what, you start hauling dive equipment in and out of a boat, and I mean that stuff's heavy. So you really start packing light, but then you don't want to forget anything. You go out and you're 15 miles offshore and you've forgotten something. You're literally out in the ocean without a paddle. So I really do like checklist, and that way I can pack it up and I make sure that I've got it packed. I don't know, Luke Outdoors 101, one of my very favorite channels, my very first subscriber. He hadn't done videos in about a year, and then he goes, I think he's in Scotland or something, wherever he is. He goes out, sets up camp, he's all excited, gets out there, and he has no matches, no lighter, no ferro rod, no nothing. I don't know if y'all saw that video.
I did see that video.
And for Luke, that was just like out of character for Luke for that to happen. But it happens to everybody. And that's why I really like having checklists.
I totally adopted your method of making checklists, Stan. Like you said, when you put it in one of your earlier videos, I was like, you know what? That's a really good idea. And even lately, well, very recently, I started actually doing pack out videos, which I know aren't always the most fun, but by shooting a video of what you're doing for a pack out and then going on a trip, I was able to, like, for instance, my New Brunswick trip, I was able to go back and watch that video and say, yep, I used that. Yep, I used that. Nope, I didn't really even need that at all. I could have left that home. That was no big deal. So on and so forth. And then I did the same thing very recently with just a shoulder bag and belt kit. I went on a camp out with just buddies, and it's so easy to look back and say, this is what works, or this didn't work. I should have had this and that checklist, or in the YouTube video tool is huge. It's a really good idea.
Well, Chris, I enjoyed your pack out. I mean, pack out videos are some of my favorites. So, but yeah, I really enjoyed yours. It'd be cool to see you actually do a video where you reassess, like you say you're actually doing, but show your pack out, and then when you come back from the adventure, show exactly what you didn't use and what you might not take the next time. That
Yeah.
might be cool.
Well, I thought about doing that honestly for my next pack out video, because the kit, like my New Brunswick pack out, was 39 pounds. It was a good quality hiking backpack. I had 3 days worth of clothes, food, all the little creature comforts that you could need when you're going somewhere that you've never been before. Like Stan said, you don't want to get 15 miles out in the water and be missing something, or be like Luke and be like in the middle of nowhere and have no lighter. But I did do a little bit of filming on my camp out with my friends. It wasn't enough to put together a video, because, like I said, I didn't want to be like sticking a camera in everyone's face and being like, "What are you doing with that, Josh? What are you doing with that, Steve?" So, like, a how it worked pack out video for that smaller shoulder bag kit I was kind of like, there's no context there, because there was no video to go like to see how I actually set up my bed, because I didn't bring a sleeping bag. I didn't bring a blow-up air mattress. I didn't bring a hammock. We all made our beds out of debris and wood and so on and so forth, and it was a lot of fun. But yeah, I think that I'm going to continue to refine that smaller kit and kind of work towards, literally a 10Cs type setup with just a few extras. And I will definitely, shoot a video going out, and also shoot a video on a return for that. Just because I think that'll be interesting for people, because you don't see a lot of campouts with that type of analysis on a 10Cs type campout. Just a thought.
Yeah, no, it'd be totally cool.
My thing was my thing was the food, because I always do like a menu, like a breakfast, a snack or dinner, and I write everything down on paper, like day 1, day 2, and everything. I put all this stuff together, and then when you're done, it's like I didn't even eat half of this stuff. So I've been taking notes on, what actually am I going to eat, and what is I'm just carrying.
Hey, that's something I want to, because you brought that up, Daryl. Have y'all ever noticed when you're out there that either your hunger goes down or up? I don't eat as much when I'm out as I do at home.
Yeah, mine goes down for sure.
And it seems like you're burning more calories when you're out in the woods or out, but my appetite's not nearly what it is. It's not the same. I don't eat half as much as I think I'm gonna. I'll take all kinds of food with me, and I won't eat it except my steak on Saturday night. I don't ever miss that one. But I mean, I'll take stuff for breakfast, and I'll take stuff for lunch, and I usually end up eating a brunch, and then I don't need anything. I don't like to eat when I first wake up in normal life. When I'm at home, I just don't like eating when I first wake up. I'm not hungry, so I don't start eating. My normal day is like an apple or banana around 9 o'clock. But then if I'm at camp, if you've watched my videos when I do my camp breakfast or something like that, it's usually around lunch,
Mm-hmm.
and then I don't eat supper until like 8 or 9 o'clock at night. And I might have a Cliff Bar maybe around 3 or something like that, but my appetite's just.
Oh, I'm totally with you, Stan. If because I think another thing too is like I'm literally having so much fun out there. I'm not gonna stop what I'm doing and get a campfire going and cook or anything like that. It's a Cliff Bar. It's a beef jerky thing or something. Just quick. And unless you go camping with FS Bushcraft, and then you're gonna eat like you've never eaten before in the woods. I have to tell you guys this. The dude brought a 10-pound pork tenderloin into the middle of nowhere, New Brunswick, and we filleted that baby and cooked it on the coals, and like Carl Craven's like cutting it with this huge friggin' Schrade knife, and then he flops it open, and we just both we're all looking at it like holy crap, and then he flopped it on the coals. It covered the whole fire. It covered the whole fire pit. Because it was kind of getting dark when we did it, so like what little light we had when it was immediately extinguished, and then later, like Peter, he's just like chucking like cans of sardines and stuff out, like he was shuffling cards. And, you want some noodles with that? Oh, look what I got! I got 17 packages of ramen, and holy moly, it was awesome.
Yeah. Definitely a trick with sardines is don't even put those. All you do is pop that just barely and throw it on, or not even pop it if you just want to steam it, but you got to get it off there before it explodes. But yeah, you can cook those right in their cans. I mean, it'll all warp and stuff. But I made the mistake of once dumping that into my GSI, canteen cup and cooking it up with some ramen noodles, and that was a pain to get that clean again where you weren't tasting the fish.
Yeah.
All right, guys. I got to jump off here. I got a bunch of paperwork to do before I hit the sack. So it was good to see you. We should do this again soon. Maybe when I can
Welcome back to the real world again, Shane.
Thank you, Stan. It's a strange feeling.
Yeah, but it's satisfying, though, isn't it?
Oh, hell yeah, it is. Definitely is. It's been too long.
Yeah, I couldn't be happier for you, man.
I appreciate it.
And you know how I feel, so.
Oh, yeah. All right, guys, you have a good night. I'm sure I'll talk to you all soon.
Later,
Rock
brother.
on, brother. I was thinking that, Stan, if you wanted to go on like a diet to lose some weight, you should just go camping all the time. Because
no, you know what? I've lost 25 pounds, and you know how? I just took sugar out of my diet. I still eat the same, I just don't use sugar.
Oh, really?
Except my first cup of coffee in the morning. Other than that, I don't really use sugar, and I've lost 20 to 25 pounds.
I don't use sugar, as an additive for anything. Bacon, baking, not bacon.
I'm like, sugary bacon. I'll have to try that.
Maple bacon.
But it seems like I read what Jason said about boredom and things, but it seems like because I'm pretty active when I'm in the woods, except when I'm hunting. If I'm squirrel hunting or something like that, and I'm not moving around a lot. But if I'm just camping, I'm pretty active, walking around and doing stuff like that, and it seems like my calorie needs would be going up. But I just don't get as hungry when I'm out as I do at work. Yeah.
I'm the same way. At work, working on this pipeline the last month, I was doing very physical labor, which usually I'm sitting in a seat pulling levers, and yeah, I had to make myself eat during lunch because I wasn't hungry, but I would feel it, till 6 o'clock at night when I'm still at work. You know what I'm saying? but I haven't eaten since 6 in the morning. It's been 12 hours. But yeah, I understand not feeling the hunger, but I think we still need the energy. If you're doing a lot of physical labor, you may not feel the need for it, but you do need it.
I could get away with coffee, a snack in the afternoon, and then a nice dinner, and that's it. Of course,
Oh man, I got in the habit of taking my little pocket rocket with me to the deer stand in the afternoons. Man, I done spoiled myself right now. Yeah, I'll sit there. I usually go to my stand about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And I'm drinking coffee, just like it's almost in the morning. But in the afternoon hunt, coffee tastes so much better when it's fresh instead of out of a thermos.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, and that's something new for me too, because when I used to hunt before I got into the little camp stoves and everything, I used to take a thermos all the time, and now I find myself wanting to take something to make the coffee out in the field.
Aren't you afraid that the smell of the brewing coffee would scare off the deer? No?
No, that's a topic that you can talk about with a lot of people about deer and scent, because I can tell you right now, 90% of the deer that I've killed in my life, I've had a cigarette. I've either just smoked a cigarette or I'm smoking a cigarette. And I'm really not scent conscious. And a lot of people are a lot better hunters than I am, and they might be more successful. But just in my experience, I mean, a deer sense of smell is so good. It's got more to do with wind direction and where your scent's getting pushed to. Because rarely is a deer going to be coming upwind from you. And most of the times when a deer becomes obvious to you, it's like a scent cone. So I don't know. No, I'm not worried about it at all. I smoke cigarettes on my stand. I might smoke a pipe. And deer are naturally curious a lot of times, unless they've associated, maybe smelled a cigarette and then got shot at. A lot of times they get real curious and come looking for that smell. And when I stop killing deer, maybe when I stop killing deer, I'll change my philosophy. But right now, I haven't had an issue with it.
Right. No, that's a good answer, man.
Yeah, I've never really thought of it that way either. And I'm wondering maybe too if an area has something to do with it. Like if you go really, really rural, like out into the way out back in the Rocky Mountains or something where there are just no people ever, if those animals are more kind of in tune to, those foreign scents are, something that might drive them away.
I agree with you there, Chris. The same thought crossed my mind when Stan was talking about wind direction and stuff. But yeah, familiarity.
If the wind's blowing to the south, I'm not looking in the south.
Gotcha.
To me, he's going to smell you, man. I mean, their sense of smell is so good.
Right.
It's just, to me, I don't know. And when you're hunting public property, and you've got 50 hunters out there. I mean, where's a deer going to go that you can't smell a human? I know I'm just contrary to a lot of people's beliefs, but I've been killing deer all my life, and I am more scent conscious when I'm bow hunting because I got to get the deer in closer. But with the rifle, but hell, I mean, I killed 5 deer with a bow this year.
You can use rifle for deer down in Florida?
Yeah.
Right on. We can't. It's all shotgun and bow and no rifle season.
I think here more it's you contaminate your area. If you got one blind or one spot you're sitting, and you're constantly putting your scent there, you know, them deer come through there and they smell that, and then you may still see the deer, but it's like they want to take a big roundabout around you. You know, they kind of stay out of that area. So me, I try to switch it up where I sit all the time. Have like 3 or 4 different places on a property, depending on which way the wind's going, and you know, how long I've hunted a stand or a blind.
All right, now here I got this one for you. Because we all drink coffee, right? So you taking the thermos in the morning. So what do you do when you got to pee?
That's another thing that people argue about. I don't believe that our urine makes any difference, because I have peed in scrapes before and still had deer go through there. I don't think that the urine has the smell that they'll determine, you know. I think they determine it as urine, you know.
Well, I pee in a bottle, and the reason I pee in a bottle is because if you're on that stand, I don't want, especially if I'm on that stand off and on for a whole week and I'm peeing in that area, deer might not be able to smell it, but I can. You know, and also if I'm sharing a stand with somebody else, because a lot of times, like last year, you know, we only had so many stands, so we were swapping out, and it was kind of polite that the other guys didn't have to smell my pee either, you know. But
pee in a bottle.
Oh, that ain't as bad as I left my ice shanty out on the, you know, you leave your ice shanties out on the lake. You got to put your name and address on there. And I get up one morning and I'm pulling my gear out to the ice shanty, and I always kept my ice shanty unlocked. That just keeps, you know, people from being vandals, you know.
Yeah.
But have my flashlight, open up the door, smelt this ungodly smell.
Oh no.
So I took my flashlight and I scanned through the ice house, and there in the middle of the ice house was a big pile of shit. Somebody had went into the ice house and used it as a fucking porta potty.
Oh man.
Needless to say, I fished outside that day.
That's just plain
rude.
yeah.
That's rude.
Disrespectful for sure.
Yeah, that is rude. I have all kinds of choice words, but we try to keep our chats to like the PG-13 rating, so we'll leave them out.
I think this time around, actually.
Yeah. Well, I don't have any of this this hunting wisdom that you, Daryl and Stan have, who've been hunting your whole lives. So it's good to hear. It's good stuff to hear.
I don't have any wisdom at all.
Well,
The only thing we ever hunted was small game. I'm not a deer hunter at all. I'd like to try it out, bow hunting, but yeah, I've never hunted deer.
And the thing is that, I mean, I'm sure it's area specific, but like the deer, any of the game really in this area, southern Maine into, you know, like mid-state, like they do not like humans. They don't want anything to do with humans because, you know, Maine has had that heritage of hunting for so long. It's almost like it's become a hereditary instinct. They know, like, if they smell you or see you or any human activity, they're scared of humans. You know, I mean, we have the highest population of black bear in the eastern United States, east of the Mississippi, Maine, 30,000 strong. You will not see a bear in the woods because if it hears you, it is going the other way because of hunters, you know, and that heritage of hunting. I mean, I don't know how long a deer lives, but it's taught by the elder deer, if you see human, hear human, or anything.
Well, and I think you were onto something earlier when you said it had to do with population density. You know, Maine isn't exactly, you know, they don't see people every day. Here in Illinois, the deer around here see people every freaking day, I would imagine.
No, that's true. Yeah, that's a good point.
That's the same here. I mean, they smell smoke from people's houses and wood stoves and people burning trash, and they're out there when farmers are doing their crops and people are out in the woods cutting chainsaws, and you can be out in the woods cutting firewood and see deer around here.
But
Yeah.
when you're seeing deer like that, are you seeing older bucks?
No, you're not seeing grandpa.
So they get wise quick.
Yeah, I'd say about a 2.5-year-old deer is going to be a pretty deer. And in Michigan, a 5-year-old deer is a pretty old deer due to like hunting. They live a lot longer than that, but 5 years old, if a deer makes it to 5 years old, that's a pretty smart deer.
Yeah.
You're gonna, like, a 5-year-old buck, you're gonna see him on accident.
Yeah.
Well, down here, a 4 or 5-year-old deer, you don't see very many of them because they just don't make it that long. And that's the thing I don't like about this area in Florida. I'm starting to see some of the new clubs going along with game management, but like that area that I hunted last year, I mean they would shoot anything, and it's just there was the bucks went totally nocturnal. They weren't coming out in the daytime at all, and actually none of the deer were, and that's because the hunters there. I mean they were shooting anything. Back in Mississippi, you see, in Mississippi we're only shooting decent bucks, and where I hunt, you've got to kill 2 does before you can even shoot a buck, and then that buck got out of one because you can only kill 1 buck a year. So, in Florida, it's rare that you see any quality deer here in this area at all.
We have just down the road from my house, just a few miles, there's a not Habitat for Humanity. What am I trying to say? Humane Society horse ranch for injured horse, retired horses, whatever. Ones that have come up lame or whatever. It's a place for old horse to go. Huge field, and it's right roadside as you're going by. I have to go by it all the time. And you don't see a single deer anywhere in this area at all for about 9 months out of the year. Basically, the end of hunting season all the way till the very end of summer. And in September, you start driving by that field and you look way out in the horse pasture. There'll be 4 or 5. October, there'll be 6 or 7. November, when rifle season starts, there'll be a freaking herd because you cannot hunt this land. They know it. They go there and they hang out there during hunting season. November and December, you can. I mean, I'll try and get some footage of it. I'll bring my camcorder so I can zoom, and they'll be like 10 deer here and 10 deer over there, and they know.
It's a learned, herd mentality that we go here during this time of year,
Exactly. But, I mean, I'm sure they probably do the same thing in you guys' neck of the woods at farms or whatever, but this is like, strictly posted, no hunting, facility, and it's been that way for, I think that place has been there for over 3 decades. So, that's their safe haven.
Well, yeah, around here in Illinois, farms are where you're going to go hunting for deer. I mean, we got very little public land where you can go hunting for deer. So yeah, once the cornfields come down, they've got very few places to hide. They're stuck in the tree lines and some woodlots between massive amounts of barren land at that point. So yeah, they get thick in those areas.
That's why all your guys as doctors and lawyers and businessmen head to Southwest Michigan.
Those are the guys from Chicago. From downstate Illinois, we've got our own places.
Yeah, I imagine that's not too bad. But Chicago, boy, oh man. They'll buy a house on a lake and knock it down and build a 5-story house on it.
Money, 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 money.
I mean, we're so far where I'm at, so far south. We're not even considered a suburb of Chicago. I mean, you got to be north of 80 for that, and I'm way south of there.
I think I went to a concert down there one time. You guys got a like a theater or concert?
6.
An outdoor concert place or an indoor concert place?
Like an indoor.
Yeah, we've got our civic center. I mean, there was a theater, an old theater, Madison Theater on Madison Street. Yeah, that used to have shows. It's historic, so it can't be torn down. But yeah, they've been trying to find investors to fix it. It's dilapidated now and not in use. Those are the two big venues. I don't know what year you would have went. I think the Civic Center was built in '81.
Yeah, this had to be late 80s.
Oh well, it could have been then. Civic Center, I would imagine.
Yeah, late 80s.
I saw one of them there aeroplanes once.
Is that anything like an Aerosmith?
There's not much happening up here in Maine. Yeah.
Shoot, I've seen all sorts of concerts around here. I don't know what things are like in Maine, but I imagine they're good in Michigan and Florida as far as concerts. Shoot.
I'm going to have to get off here, guys. I'm going to mute myself and everything. I got to start getting around for work.
That's all right. I got to wrap it up, too. I didn't realize it was 9:30. Woo!
Yeah, it's my 32-hour shift.
Oh, is that all? You can go for a few more hours, dude.
I'm doing 48 this weekend, so I'll have Friday off, and then I'll go back in Saturday for 24 and then Sunday for 24.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully you get paid to sleep.
Always. EMS stands for Earns Money Sleeping. Everybody thought emergency medical service.
I've been getting my ass whooped this week at work. Oof. But I don't have to deal with bloody dying people, so hats off to you, my friend.
Yeah, it's more like poopy people. Poopy people and drunks.
Yep. Well, I mean, I know we never shouted out anybody out there in the audience through the whole chat. It's because I'm having a hard time like paying attention to what's going on. But I just wanted to throw out a huge thank you to everybody that was out there. You know, you guys all rock. The comments have just been rolling by almost so fast I couldn't even read them. So thank you very much for coming and hanging out.
Yeah, thank you guys for coming and having another chat. You know, it's usually like once a quarter. Huh?
Oh, yeah. Well, one of the things we were going to shout out, I guess we can still do it real quick here, is there are two chats that are definitely worth checking out, because we used to do this once a week, and we were terrible at it, but it was a lot of fun. But there are two chats. One, Mark, Scouting Free, I see you over there in the chat room. He does a great bushcraft talk show. It's not every week, but it's, you know, he fairly regularly. Anytime you guys can get a chance to hop in there, well worth the while. And another one, which I'm pretty sure everybody over there in the chat and everybody here on the panels privy to, is the Monday night bushcraft talk or Bushcraft Chat. I can't remember what they call it, but it's really good. Alan from, I'm forgetting his channel name now. Darn. I'm drawing a blank. It's Crash Bushcraft and Alan. They've been in the chat for, I don't know, weeks now, and that is a good time. There's always good topics. There's always, really good conversation happening. That's really worth checking out. Those two guys have a lot of experience. They've had guests on there. Cole Craven's been on there. Morgan from Armed Rogue. There's always a big host of people. Donnie Pavellini Outdoors was one of my favorites. He's been doing a lot with them, so definitely go over there that Monday night Bushcraft talk. It's great.
Also,
right. I've got, when you get through, Daryl, I got one thing.
Also, Ron over at Fox Company Prep, and he's gonna start a new chat. It's gonna be a crafts chat, and it's gonna do a wide range of stuff from woodcraft to like sewing, all different types of crafts that he wants to have some people on. So he'll be starting that chat here soon. I'm not sure when he starts that.
Okay, Donnie Pavellini and I have started a something. It's something I've been wanting to do because of England's got their bushcraft show, right? That's the big thing over there, and I've always been really jealous of that. And there's several gatherings in the United States, but they're far away from us. And to make a long story short, we're going to start off small, but Donnie and I are having like a rendezvous here, and it's going to be in Mississippi because it's central to all of us. And so in October, the second week of October, I think it's the 16th, we're having our first annual Southern Rendezvous. We don't know what we're going to call it or anything. And it's going to be at Roosevelt State Park, and Parker Ridge is also going to be there, Jason. And we don't know what's going to happen the first year, but it's the primitive camping site only can hold like 15. You might be able to cram 20 people in there. There's no really limit to it, but it's first come, first serve. And then they've got RV parks and camper parks for they'll never fill it up. And but anyway, that's something we're working on, an annual event. So if anybody's interested in it, just contact me or Donnie, and we can help you.
Dude, that is awesome.
I think the nearest one to us is in Tennessee. That I think
the Kenneth Kenneth Cram and Billy Joe Denny and all them.
Yeah, they're doing one in like Tennessee, and I think Canterbury comes to that one sometimes, or he does one further down south. But there's nothing really in our area. So anyway, we're trying to get that going, and we'd like for it to eventually get big. But right now, it's just like this first one is just going to be. It's going to be what it is, first come, first serve for the primitive camping, and if anybody else wants to come, if they've got a camper, or they can also tent camp in the other reserves. It's like $13 for primitive camping, $18 to $20 depending on the amenities, because they've got like water, electrical, and sewer for the RV. It's 18, with sewer it's 23, I think, and then primitive camping is 13.
Oh, get the sewer one, man. Then you wouldn't have to pee in a bottle.
Right. And they've also got I mean, if the thing ever took off and we decided to keep it at Roosevelt State Park, they've got cabins there. They've got a community house. It's very family oriented. It's on a large lake that's got very good fishing. Um, that's where a lot of people in Mississippi have their family reunions. But in October, they're not. I talked to them last week. They said October is a very slow month because
Oh,
a
that's
lot of the
awesome.
rednecks are because a lot of rednecks are in the wood hunting. That's what it is. But
In a couple of years, you guys will have vendors and stuff out there.
well, we're kind of, that's at first we don't want it to be a circus. The way it's set up now, we would come in on a Friday. Saturday would be kind of like a breakfast, a get together. Everybody talking, saying hello, and meeting each other. Saturday afternoon would be like little seminars or teach, like or Donnie's talking about possibly teaching pottery or something like that, and I could teach flint and steel, or the Saturday afternoon would be a seminar or a teaching thing, or a lecture or something, whatever. And then Saturday night to get together, cook out, and then everybody break camp Sunday and leave.
Sounds like a good time, man.
Yeah, that's killer. It's just, a meetup of a bunch of people who are, long distance friends that are all into the same thing. I mean, that's the glorious thing about those types of meetups.
Well, Muddy Tiger's actually talking about driving up. So
if I had any vacation time, dude, I'd be flying down, that's for sure. That sounds awesome.
Jeep from the channel From Urban to Country, Homestead and I both live in the same city, and we've been talking about getting 309 area code, Central Illinois thing going on. So, yeah, if anybody lives in Central Illinois, we might be doing something in September, early October.
Yeah, that would be sweet. Did Daryl take off already?
Yeah, he had to go to work.
No. So, all right.
But one last thing about that. If anybody, because I haven't been reading the comments either, it's hard to do both. But if anybody's interested or wants to come, just let Donnie and I know. Somebody mentioned flint napping and stuff like that. I'm not a flint napper, but I'd love to learn how to do it. So if you're interested in coming and you want to do something like that, or if you want to learn something like that, we'd like to know what you want to learn so we can find somebody to do that, possibly.
Yeah. And you said again, it's the second weekend in October?
Yeah, I think it's the 16th.
Okay.
This one's, this is just the first one is just going to kind of be a learning experience, to get us together, talk about what we want to do in the future, and just see what happens,
Yep. Well, that's it. There's a lot of you guys down there.
Yeah, it'd be awesome to see somebody do that live, but I don't know, if you're familiar. There's a channel called, I believe it's Paleo Man.
Yeah.
He's got a great 20 video series that goes through the just geology of rocks and how they break, and it starts out with that and shows you how to flint nap. It's an awesome series.
We've got some, my bushcraft club here in town that's kind of it's not very organized. There's some nappers around town that can teach me, and but I've got so much going on right now. It's one other thing to learn, but it's something I want to learn.
Oh yeah,
I know a lot of others do. So
it's something I've been. Yeah, I saw when I'd go with my grandfather to the recreation rendezvous and whatnot when I was a kid. There'd be flint nappers there, and yeah, I'd sit there, for hours watching those guys. It's amazing watching them work.
Oh, reading through all these comments, man. There's 20 people watching right now, too. I almost don't want to go, but I have to rock and roll.
Well, tell them all to subscribe to my channel. It's Illbilly.
That's right. Yeah. Well, it was definitely good to get caught up with you guys, Stan and Eric, both of you guys. It seems like I haven't had much chance to conversate.
Yeah, I've been real bit busy, and I know you guys have been too. So.
Yeah, summertime.
Well,
I'd rather be busy than bored. So.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
Between work and then just crazy automobile issues the last 2 weeks, yeah, my life's been insane lately. Don't want to go into it on a public chat, but yeah, it's been kind of crazy.
And Jason, hey Jason, if you're out there, I'll get with you after this chat.
Yeah, I did see him just a minute ago commenting. You got all kinds of people that are looking forward to this, Stan.
I'm gonna have to go back and read the comments after we close.
Yeah. I know Breyer, he mentioned it. Survival. Yeah, there's a lot of you guys that are down there in the deep south, and you're on to something too, because there isn't really a meetup down there, or that I'm privy to anyway, that I know of. Just like, there's not really one up here in the Northeast either. There's not as many people either. So, yeah, you should be able to throw together something real fun.
I'm surprised Donnie's not watching this.
Well, yeah, when Jeep and I were talking about this Central Illinois meetup, I mean, we want to start it out this year as just something, getting a core group of local people, but we want to open it up to whoever wants to come eventually, It'd be cool to see some people from Iowa and Indiana, bordering states. Country Preppers in Iowa, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to go. I mean, I'd love to go to that Tennessee one too, but I mean, I drove 10 hours to Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
And I was, yeah, well, that's it. And I was thinking, and then it was only about 6.5 or so to drive to New Brunswick to camp out with Call and FS. But Mississippi, or Tennessee, that's a 2-day drive event.
Yeah, I was looking to see how far it was to your place, man. It's like,
Yeah. I mean, I know people that have done it.
Quicker to drive to California.
Yeah, I mean, you can make it from Maine to Florida depending on how fast you go, in about 22 to 23 hours if you drive it straight. That's hardcore. You got to have a few drivers in the vehicle to rotate them out, and everyone has to hold it for as long as they can because P brakes slow you down.
From where to where was 22?
It was from where I am in southern Maine to can't remember what. I think I might have done Jacksonville. Jacksonville is right up north central, right? Florida. Yep.
Yes, well, it's near close to Georgia, actually. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that was from Portland to Jacksonville, 23 hours. If you don't stop, and that's just to get gas, whiz while you're getting gas, and hammer.
Yeah, no, that 23 hours, that means, you got to figure 15 minutes every 2 hours, so that's taking you up to damn near 30-hour drive.
I drove 23 hours from Huntsville, Alabama to Key West, and I will never do that again. And I did it nonstop.
I just don't have that ability.
I was vibrating by the time I got to Key West. It took me a whole day to get calm with Red Bulls and coffee and cigarettes.
Speaking of vibrating, have you been able to listen to Art Bell yet?
Every night.
Right on. Yeah, when I was working, I wasn't able to, but yeah, I'm not getting into it. But right this moment, I don't have a job, so yeah, I've been able to listen to them last couple nights.
Well, I can't stand to hear George Norrie's voice anymore. And then they're having that doctor that they have that doctor that's trying to push his vitamin package on twice a week. I've gotten sick of coast to coast. So yeah. But then if midnight's not too far out and it's listenable, farts on there, I'll listen to it. Some of those other shows are just too far out. I can't listen to it.
Well, yeah, no, the Dark Matter Radio Network or whatever, yeah, there's a bunch of crap, but I do like I'm a huge fan of Art Bell, so yeah, I do like the Midnight in the Desert show. Sorry.
All right, man. I'm out of here.
Same here. So everybody in the chat room, I think Daryl's just going to leave this up so you guys can hang out and chat away, but I think we're rocking and rolling. Thank you very much for all hanging out. It was really cool to have a chat, and hopefully we'll trying to do one the first Wednesday of every month, but we'll see if we get back into that. But
yeah, it wasn't possible in July.
Nope.
Good night.
All right, guys. Nice seeing y'all, talking to you. Everybody in the audience enjoyed it. Sorry I couldn't keep up with the comments, but I'll go back and read them. Send you a PM or something.
All right, guys. Rock on.
Ending this is there.
Later.
No, we're just out.
All right, later.
Ha ha, I tricked them. I didn't leave. It's just me here. Oh, just kidding. Bye.